Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Ed Block CourageCast. Boy, it has been a week for the foundation. I'm your host, Dave Steinwedel. We had our great holiday party event Monday night. It was a lot of fun. We got to do a live podcast. Wally, unfortunately, could not make it, but he is here tonight.
As much as I talk trash about being there, too, as much as I was gassed up about being there and the crabby wings and the whole deal.
I ate plenty of
I let you guys down, man. Well, you know what? The airline, I'm not going to call it an airline. I'm going to give them a pass, but I was furious. I was boiling at the airport. Instead of having crabby wings, I had some nasty damn donut or something like that.
Oh, gosh. And worst of all, you missed out on hanging out with Zay. He was magnificent.
Yes.
Is the word magnanimous the right word, David?
Magnanimous?
I would agree with that. I think magnanimous is a good word to describe Zay. That was a very entertaining night. Our thanks to all our sponsors that helped make that event possible. ServiceMaster, Jonah Dito, Realtor, G-Force, Renewal Claim Solutions, and the local and Evolved Hospitality Group. Our thanks to all of them for putting it on. Our thanks to Zay for coming out. It was a lot of fun. The reviews on the live podcast were very good. DC stole the show, as he typically is going to do.
Of course.
And before we really get into this podcast, we have a massive show for you, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. Guess what, boys? We are officially going on the road for the Super Bowl. And we are bringing DC with us this year, Wally.
Yeah, it's going to pop my cherry.
Power, full throttle.
So if you enjoy this pod, just you wait. Just you wait till you see what we have.
On Radio Row. It's on the road.
And now we just need to make it a Vikings versus Chiefs Super Bowl, and then that'll be my trifecta.
I'm going to say this now. If that happens, you will be insufferable on this podcast, on that the entire time we are there. You will be insufferable. And I love you, DC. You'll be insufferable.
But think of the inside information I'll be able to give you since, did you know, like, even the Vikings, like, COO went to high school not too far across the street from me, and, like, he was best friends with my cousin. Like, it's incestuous.
You see, this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we have to deal with. This is what you get here. Incestuous information.
Information you did not know you needed. I forgot to do our proper introductions. Former NFL offensive lineman with the Ravens, Saints, and Browns, and an Ed Block Courage Award recipient, Wally Williams. Former NFL defensive lineman with the Bengals, Chiefs, and the Vikings. That would be Duane Clemons is here. DB potentially is joining us a little bit later. You will hear, by the way, from Brett Dickinson. As we mentioned, this is an absolutely loaded podcast tonight. We have two brand new Ed Block Courage Award recipients are going to join us. Nephi Sewell. If that last name sounds familiar, we're going to get into that with Nephi, but he is the brother of Penny Sewell, the Lions offensive tackle. He is the Saints Ed Block Courage Award recipient. Tycen Anderson is the Cincinnati Bengals recipient. He's going to join us a little later here on this show. We also have DC and Brett went one-on-one, two-on-one, really, with Ron Rivera for a very fun, interesting conversation about the Commanders' new Ed Block Courage Award recipient this year. And finally joining us will be one of DC's former teammates, and one that we are really excited to talk to. Robert Smith of Fox Sports is going to join us as well to talk about being a recipient, his career, and maybe even a little bit of the college football playoff, because he covers college football for Fox now. So we have a loaded show. We don't have much time here left before we get into this, but I have to ask our guy Wally this question. Because one of his former coaches has gone back to college. And Bill Belichick has agreed to become the head coach at the University of North Carolina. Had his press conference today. We've heard from a lot of former NFL players. I'm going to give Wally the floor here before we welcome in our first guest of the night. But just what do you make of Bill Belichick going to North Carolina?
You know, I know Bill is a hardcore football guy. I think we all know and understand that, and I don't think the way he went out, and coaching the NFL is how he wanted to end it. Now, getting back into coaching, of course, I didn't see North Carolina coming, but the more you think about it, the more you think about Bill and where he is right now. Half of what he's doing is family related. He had that relationship with his father. His father was a coach. He coached on the collegiate level, all those things like that. Very close relationship. And, Bill has a son that's in coaching right now. Okay. And he's at the University of Washington. And I assume he's going to be over there in North Carolina as well. So I think this is a foundation that they're laying. I understand the concept of turning that program into more of a pro kind of atmosphere, because that's what these kids are doing right now with NIL deals and getting paid. So I get that philosophy. But I think this is a family thing. I think Bill is doing this, for his personal love, but I think he's bringing his son with him to pass that torch and to carry on the foundation that he lays. So, look, he likes being around football. He loves coaching. I think the time off, he spent a lot of time in Washington with his son, okay, and doing those things with that. So he loves being around a game. He has an opportunity to do that, an opportunity to do that with his son, much like his dad did with him and guided him through the process of becoming NFL coach and one of the best of all time, as we see now.
All right. Well, we got to be DC. Get one final comment before we got to step aside for our guests that are waiting.
Well, I'm looking forward to the way the experiment works out. I think it is the duality of you do got a man who's kind of, you would think would be kind of winding down at this stage, stepping into an arena where he's going to be around younger, fresher, more naive, or maybe even more ignorant, players at that stage. So, you're wondering how that's going to marry up. But he has so much to teach him, and hopefully maybe the gap will be that they respect him so much, because I feel like maybe at the NFL level, he wasn't getting the amount of respect he probably should get as an 8-time Super Bowl champion. I think he'll have that effect hopefully there, and they'll see like, hey, this is the guy that's going to make my life bigger in the long term, not just in this short 4 years. So maybe they won't be so apt to jump around.
Hey, DC, though, look, he does have a younger influence. He does have younger insight. He got a 24-year-old chick. The cat is 72.
Oh, God about that.
Listen, there is influence there, man. There is the golden younger generation. I would love to be around the kids. Hey, Coach love the kids.
Absolutely. I don't even know if I can keep up with a 24-year-old right now.
That's some pace right there, baby. That's some pace. Hey, he's showing us a lot more than you think. All right, the man is ready to go with the younger generation. All right, hey, let's go, Bill. Let's go. So
I forgot he was conditioning himself.
I was explaining to somebody Monday night at the event before you got there about just how this podcast works and how this show works, because our lovely staff does a great job. They listen to all our shows. We appreciate their support. But they always have to ask how we navigate when this show goes off the rails and something gets brought up. And honestly, this is about what happens. Something is brought up, we go off on a tangent, and then it doesn't come back right away. It's a fair way to describe this. Am I off base with that comment?
We just have to get all the information and all the, all the information has to be put right there. And these are facts. So when you put all the facts on the table, hey, there's an equation there.
Our secret sauce.
Right, okay. All right.
Yeah. We need to take a break before we get fired, FCC, whatever you want to say, violations happen. We have great guests coming up here on the other side of this timeout. Welcome back to the Ed Block CourageCast. Dave Steinwedel, former Baltimore Ravens offensive lineman Wally Williams, former Cincinnati Bengal defensive lineman Duane Clemons. The reason I did that is because joining us now is our first of 2 Ed Block Courage Award recipients. He would be the safety for the Cincinnati Bengals. Tycen Anderson is joining us, 2024 Ed Block Courage Award recipient. Tycen, thank you for taking some time with us. And first off, what does it mean to you to be an Ed Block Courage Award recipient?
Oh man, it's honestly something that I'm, super just humbled and honored about that. Just all the history of the award and all the great guys who've been received. I was looking it up. I think Chris Johnson and McCourty brother. I seen some legends on there. So to be involved in that and be in the list of those names is, I mean, it's an honor for real, and it's a pleasure to be awarded by my teammates, and so it meant a lot.
And you know, Tycen, of course, to get that award, you know, we have to go through all kinds of perseverance, things, injuries, all these things like that.
For sure.
Give us your mindset about how you went through your situation and then how you came out of it to get back to be a player that's contributing at a high level like you're doing right now.
No, yeah, it was honestly, man, it was gotta thank God first and foremost, for real, because without him, you feel me, I don't think I could have done any of this for real. So I gotta shout out to my Lord and Savior for real. And then, I mean, I just got a great team around me too, with our strength staff, our medical staff, Nick, Matt, all the guys in there. I mean, it's just all about bouncing back, in my opinion, for real. And that's something I always knew I wanted to be an elite special teams player in this league. And I got OGs that taught me a lot of stuff for real. And I just wanted to always just throughout my whole injury process, it was more so just how can I get better week by week by week by week, and then just stacking up good weeks on top of each other, and then to 14, 15 months later, we here, and that's really it.
So I have
Okay.
I have to ask this question, and then DC, you can go, because the injury that you have that led you to going on IR and getting you on your road to recovery and earning you this Ed Block trophy from your teammates. You tear your ACL against the Niners and play the entire game, play through that injury in the game. Take me in that take me inside your mindset in that game, to when it happened, to how you were able to get through that game.
I mean, I don't even, I really don't even be knowing, honestly, but like, it was just truly just adrenaline and just wheels for real. And me just chopping up with my OG Mike Thomas, and he like, and we just chopping it up, and I'm telling him like, yeah, my knee don't feel good though. Like, I don't know what happened, but like, my knee ain't feeling that good though. And we just talking, like, he said, you good enough to protect yourself? He said, cause you can't do that, you can't get out there. I'm like, yeah, I can protect myself. And luckily we only had a few special teams players for the second half too. So that kind of saved me a lot, because I was gonna hurt myself for real out there. So but yeah, it was a crazy time though. But it was more so just, I didn't really know that I blew my knee out, honestly, at the time. I didn't know. I didn't know. If I knew, I probably would have stopped and probably just let it down and sat down. But I didn't know, and it was like, it wasn't painful that I was going to just pull myself out the game. And I can fight through a lot of stuff, and it wasn't as painful as I thought it would ever be.
Tycen,
or I got a high pain tolerance.
Tycen, one of the things that we go through as players is when we go through an injury like this, we have to adapt, and we have to, kind of change the way we look at our careers, because obviously longevity is the most important ability that we can ever have. What are you doing differently now that you've been through this major obstacle? You're on the other side of it, but what is your intentionality, and how do you prepare yourself?
No, it's so crazy though, because honestly, when the process before it happened, I was taking care of my body better than anything. I mean, going to Pilates twice a week, having 2 massages, meeting with chiropractors, and doing everything the right way. So it wasn't even. It was one of those things where I was never like down on myself about it, because I knew I attacked every day how I was supposed to attack it. And the chips just didn't fall in where I needed them to fall at that moment. God needed me to, you feel me, slow down a little bit. And that's all I did. And from that moment on, I knew I was gonna be back to being who I am and what I am. And yeah, and it was just that.
So I wonder. I wish D Brooks was on right now to ask him this question. Maybe I ask it to DC, because you in this field too. So I wonder, by you being in such great shape and being on it right out the gate, how much did that allow you to get into the rehab, process? Because listen, that's crazy that you kept playing, with the torn ACL. So I would think that would be because you're in shape and you put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
So, it kind of cascaded the rehab process, and you getting back, I don't know, maybe a little bit quicker. You say the pain tolerance was there. trying to get a parallel as to being in shape right out the gate and doing these things
Yeah.
out the
But
gate is
heck
more
no.
preventable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. But an injury gonna be happen at the end of the day. It's ball at the end of the day. We go get hurt.
Right.
It's gonna happen.
Right.
Sure, no matter what you do, if you're the most in shape guy, if you're the least in shape guy, you bound to. It's just playing ball is the risk we take for real, for real. But I don't really know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know how to answer the question for real, honestly.
Tycen, specifically, since we're in the kind of me and Wally played so long ago, you guys have access to new technology, better rehab equipment. Have you tried stem cells or neuromed or hyperbaric chambers, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I for sure. Like the way I take care of my body, honestly, I for sure have tried the hyperbaric chamber. I'm gonna try it again, but like I'm a little claustrophobic, so I got in there and kind of wasn't feeling right in there, so I had to get out of there. But
Try
a lot of
EWAT.
try it again.
Try EWAT. It's exercise without oxygen therapy. It does the same thing, but without you having to get in the chamber.
Okay, I'm gonna look into that. It's called EWAT.
Yeah,
Yeah,
EWOT.
DC know. He know about all that.
Okay, I'm gonna look into that for sure. You need everything to get your body right for Sunday.
Absolutely. But the stem cells was the best thing I ever did for my knee. I ruptured my patellar tendon, had a total knee reconstruction. And I can tell you right now, my stem cell knee feels better than my left knee.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So, all right. So let me go ahead and get into this right here. All right. So yeah, I got my Raven hat on and stuff like that, man. That was
I
one of the
see
teams.
you.
So, you know what I'm saying? So my question is, and it's not necessarily Ravens, but it's about the North. Period. You guys, you guys are kind of fluttering a little bit. You can get on the win streak and make it. You're kind of in between. So, what is going to happen with the Bengals? What are you guys going to do? Okay, to get back in this race in the AFC North?
I mean, honestly, it start one game at a time, for real, for real. At the end of the day, we for sure dug ourselves into a spot that's we don't want to be in, sitting at 5-8. But I mean, we still got a chance, and a lot of the guys, all the guys in the locker room, we all believe that we are who we are, a great team, and we can be great. So that's all you need is belief, and we don't really listen to all the outside noise that's saying all the nasty stuff about us and all the, you feel me, whatever it is. But we just know we got each other back as brothers, and we will go out there swinging to the fences and try to get a win on Sunday and go from there. And the next week we go do the same thing. We just kind of got a process of just attacking every day and just letting the day attack every day if you win every day and make practice execution game reality. And that's kind of our mindset.
Which one of the AFC North stadiums is your favorite to play in as a road team?
I ain't played at the Steelers yet, so I ain't played there yet, so that's probably one of my. But right now it's the Browns. I like their fans. They talk junk. They loud when they winning, so it was kind of fun, beating them for the first time.
You really just have beef right now with Wally because he played for the Ravens and the Browns.
Both of them.
No, yeah, that's a fun stadium to play in. Can I not? Am I lying?
Now, wait a minute. I didn't play in the new days that you guys had. I played in that other thing that. Look, I played in the same stadium that. I played in the same stadium that like Jim Brown and Otto Graham played in.
Okay.
That would be a geriatric stadium.
Right. I didn't play in the new dubs over there.
Did they even have a scoreboard? Did they even have a light up scoreboard?
That wasn't the problem, man. That wasn't the problem. Look, we didn't have hot water in our damn locker room after the game. That was the problem. Okay, that was the deal. So you had to make a decision.
Cutting it off after wins and losses?
We didn't
or they
have
just
it.
Cutting it off, period. Oh,
we didn't have it. We didn't have it. Okay, all right. You had to make a decision. All right.
Wow.
Either
shout out to the NFLPA.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You take a cold shower, or you get dressed and take it to the crib. You wear your sweatsuit to the game and take it to the crib and take a shower after the game. There you go. Yeah. The league, baby.
So Tycen, Wally brought it up. We know how real the AFC North is because all three.
It's real.
Everybody knows that you hate more, but I know when I played in the AFC North, For me, it was Pittsburgh. I know for some of my teammates, it was Baltimore. But who is your AFC North rival that you really want to go knock the snot out of somebody's nose the most?
I mean, honestly, I got low key equal hate for all of them. For real,
All of them. Everybody killer.
Yeah,
EK
everybody.
all day.
I'm trying to get I'm trying to get we trying to get everybody at the end of the day. So I don't really got a rival in the league. So I'm a young player, so it's only I only even played these teams 2-3 times so far. And yeah, do I like certain matchups? Do I enjoy playing certain players? Yeah, heck yeah, I do.
Well, you might be playing the last game of the season at Pittsburgh. Does that mean a lot to you, knowing that you haven't been there to play yet, and the fact that you might be able to get to knock them off before they try to run away?
No, yeah, for sure. It's just, I mean, I've been a Mike Tomlin fan, a Steelers fan my whole life for real. So for me, just being on Heinz Field is just gonna be a crazy feeling in general. So yeah, I'm just excited to go out and make some plays for real, and turn my team up how I can. I'm excited.
We're gonna have to remember this, by the way, gentlemen, in March at the Courage Awards. If Tycen can make it, and we hope that Tycen can, when Corey Tice, the Steelers recipient, comes in, we need to ask Corey this exact question. We need to ask everybody in the AFC North that question. But Tycen,
it probably just depends on where people from. Too. I'm an Ohio guy. A lot of people not even from this area to even be a fan of.
Oh, so it's real deep for you.
It's a little deep.
Mm-hmm.
A little deep for sure.
You told us you're going to Von Bell's birthday party here, so that's why we've done a little maneuvering here. So what is that DB room like in Cincinnati? How tight of a group are you guys?
Oh, no, we're a real tight group. We we all enjoy being around each other, really. And obviously we all got families. We all got stuff that's going on outside of football, but we all just have fun, just kicking it around each other, laughing with each other. And yeah, so it's a real close-knit group, and we lucky to have the vets we got and the young players we got. It's all gel together pretty good.
Tycen, do you guys have a group chat that you're on? Because I don't know if you know this, but probably me and about 30 other Bengals are on a group chat. Corey Dillon, Chad Johnson, Willie Anderson, Levi Jones. We talk literally every single day, and it's raw. Do you guys have a group chat like that where you guys keep the locker room going?
Yeah, we for sure keeping the locker room going all day. Yeah. Yeah, we got the group chat for sure. It's so too many. No.
All right, Tycen, we're gonna get you out of here with this final question, and it is one of our favorites to ask. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
My welcome to the NFL moment. Yep. We was in 7-hole coverage in practice, and I was the hole player, and I had to get the over that was coming my way. And when I turned my head to look for it, Joe Burrow threw it, and I thought I was about to get a pick, but he put the ball in a place where I couldn't get it, and the receiver caught it literally right behind my head, and I was like, "Oh snap! This is real."
Yeah, that boy good.
I said, "Oh wow."
Yeah, these boys good out here.
Yeah, so that was my welcome to them. I'm like, oh yeah, they throwing the ball different out here right now. I said, okay, time to lock in.
All
right, Tycen, congratulations on being named the Ed Block Courage Award recipient this year for the Cincinnati Bengals, and hopefully we will be able to see you in March in person, and you get to come back on this podcast and get your trophy and enjoy the weekend festivities with us in Baltimore.
No, yeah, I'm for sure planning on being there, so I'll see y'all there.
All right, man. See you there. Let's go.
All right, man. We go talk.
Oh yeah.
Wait, though.
All right, thanks to Tycen.
I appreciate y'all having me on there.
Appreciate you. You hopefully will hear more from him in March in Baltimore. We have more Ed Block CourageCast up next. Welcome back to an already entertaining Ed Block CourageCast. Our thanks to Tycen Anderson, the 2024 Ed Block Courage Award recipient for the Cincinnati Bengals, and now the 2024 Ed Block Courage Award recipient for the New Orleans Saints. His brother is a pretty famous guy, plays for the Detroit Lions, but hey, I got a little hand wave there.
We're not talking about Big Bro right now. Big Bro got his own thing going.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying?
He doing his thing. He's doing his thing. And they balling out, so deserve it.
He is an Ed Block Courage Award recipient with the New Orleans Saints. This year, Nephi Sewell. Welcome aboard to the craziness. What does it mean to you to be an Ed Block Courage Award recipient?
It means a lot, especially because when I was going through it, like my rookie year and then my second year, it was like, oh, it's just another award they just give out. And then when I realized my name was up to be like one of the recipients to be voted for by the team, got to look into it a little bit more in terms of like, all right, who was Ed Block, what this award means, and like for him to continue to still, you know, go throughout his day and return to what he loves to do, it relates back to like for like anyone who goes through an injury, you can either go one or both ways. You can either hang it up, or you can have that mindset of like, all right, I'm gonna come back and get after it, regardless of, you know, with the league, everything is like up in the air, especially when you're hurt. So you can either, you know, dread on it and just let it like pass you, or you can choose to get up every day and get after it, and then hopefully you allow yourself to like see the good outcome of it.
And you know, hey, me and you share something that DC don't know nothing about this, right? He's big time, so he don't know nothing about this. Being an undrafted free agent, okay, yeah, and being in that situation and fighting through an injury. I mean, what is the sense of urgency that you have to develop being in that situation and trying to come back and perform well?
Yeah, so funny thing is, I know trainers try to like keep it real with you, and, like keep like a timeline, and they're like, listen, you might miss the whole year. You could even come in late December, early January. And I was like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that at all. So given my circumstance, especially as undrafted, you're only on contract for 3 years, and this is my third year. So the sense of urgency was definitely there. And just getting after it every day, you know, telling the trainers I'm coming back early, like just having that mindset, like whatever that timeline is, I'm cutting it, regardless if it's a couple weeks, maybe a month, I'm cutting it. I'm gonna get back. I need it. But, you know, just being, you know, undrafted, but I feel like that's been like my story, especially like coming out of high school. I had an injury in high school, not sure many people know about, but I had a fracture in my neck my junior year, the first game, and I had to get a fusion on my C5 and C6. So basically that whole junior year, that was the first game I did it, missed the whole junior year. Came in the senior year, cleared and everything, balled out, still won 2 offers. And when it got to my situation, I felt like it related in terms of like how to handle injury. So there was definitely a lot of like work put into it, but I was built for this moment. And then on top of it, my faith put me in a position to keep my mental clear and my spirituality at peace, knowing that regardless of what happens, I put my best foot forward every day.
Nephi, I'm from California kid, so I grew up with a lot of Pacific Islanders, a lot of Tongans, a lot of Samoans. How does it feel to see the NFL just continue to proliferate? I mean, the Islanders are here, and they're making an impact all over the league at all kind of positions. I mean, we're seeing them at quarterback, tackles, D-line, O-line, safeties. I mean, sky's the limit. How does that feel to see the island really represented so well in the league?
I'm very proud of everyone. You know, after every game, I try to, you know, introduce myself to other Polynesian players. Also just try to keep track of who's all in the league and, you know, follow up. And like, I'm gonna continue to cheer for every Polynesian player and even the upcoming ones, because it's just exciting to see these people get recognition or make that transition into the pros. So on top of that, I'm actually glad that we got Taliesa Fuanga on our team, because now we have another Poly on our team. It used to just be me, and now we got Poly, our tribal chief, with us. So it's good. I'm happy for everyone. And, you know, I just, you know, I'll continue to cheer and support every other Polynesian player.
Now, are you related to any of these guys?
I'm related to
currently in the
Puka.
league?
I'm related to Puka, and I'm related to Kingsley, and then my brother is obviously in Detroit and with the Bears.
Oh wow, so it's pretty incestuous.
Hey, I want to ask you this. And growing up in Utah, okay, I mean, I assume that's where you did your formal years up there in Utah. Does anything in Utah remind you of anything in New Orleans? Are there any similarities?
It is two completely different places. What's funny is, at first when my wife came here, it took her a little bit to appreciate New Orleans, get used to New Orleans, but she grew a love for New Orleans, especially when you go out and speak to the people, like get to know the culture of like New Orleans and why New Orleans is the way it is. So definitely learned a lot my rookie year. They definitely love the spices up here. It ramps up a little bit more than out west, but I love it here. My time here has been nothing but amazing, and hope to continue it here.
Now, have you ate at Dookie Chase yet? No, that's one of my favorite restaurants out there on Bourbon Street.
I try to stay away from bourbon, but I'm gonna have to try it out.
Okay.
Hey man, you got to hit all the spots, man. You got to hit Drago's for some.
Dragons was one of the first place I hit downtown.
Okay, all right. Two sisters and all those things like that. There's just some things you just got to do.
You got to
down
do
there. You got to do it. Yeah.
So you were talking a little bit about you're on the practice squad, you're on the 3-year contract. Well, you get undrafted, the Saints sign you as an undrafted free agent, and then you're part of the final roster cuts. What was sort of your mindset in that training camp, and then subsequently after everything shakes out and you don't make that 53-man roster?
My first year?
Yes, I'm sorry. Lost my thought there.
No, you're good. So going through that process, a lot of talks just with my brothers, a lot of talks with family, and then I talked with, the coaches at Utah. The big thing that like carried on from the University of Utah when I played there was our defensive coordinator talked about the true worth of value, and like how it's not really determined in how much you're paid, but how much more you give. So I always took it as, all right, if I don't make this 53 and I make the practice squad, that's at least a foot in the door. So instead of just like, oh, I'm just practice squad player, I continued like to go throughout the process, like asking other dudes who went from that process of, all right, undrafted practice squad player to the roster. And it all basically came to one thing of like, continue to work, don't doubt yourself. And then in that situation, as an undrafted player, you want to do more. So I always learned all 3 linebacker positions just in case someone went down. It's always good to just, pick up all 3, and then on top of it, continue to show my worth on special teams.
Did you ever have any doubts that maybe this is the end of your football career every time you ended up on the practice squad?
Not really, because when I was given the opportunity to perform, I felt like I performed well. So I knew that I was putting like a good case for myself, but also I understand that it's a business, and how, especially in my 3rd year, I understand how it all operates now. So I just, continue to work, come in to work with the right attitude, try to help. Even like I'm on practice squad. If someone on like who's on the active roster like maybe needed like a point or two, or maybe like there was a note I got from film, I'm not gonna gatekeep it. I'm gonna like share with the dudes who are playing.
So one of the things that I always look forward to was knowing that you're coming up on that 4th year in 3 games. How much does it mean to you to know that you're going to be vested in the next year, and knowing that you're going to be finally able to check that box? So, and hey, you got your pension locked up. Now you're just building wealth and just hopefully making it grow.
Yeah. So the good thing is, I got up on my my rookie year. I got up 6 games. So that counted as 1 year. Then then I got to my 3rd year. Obviously, with my injury, it still counted towards as like a vested year. So I'm vested now, but it's definitely a blessing, you know, to know that like, all right, this is where my hard work is getting me. But at the same time, I'm still shooting for something higher. Like one day, I still want to become, you know, like a starter and still contribute on special teams.
Now, in that process, again, you know, being an undrafted free agent, you know, you come in. I know for me, and this went into every year, even when I became a starter, I never felt like the team wanted me there. Okay, and that's how I started my year, because I went through that damn draft just like you did, and did not hear my name. So I wonder if that attitude still resonate with some of you UDF guys.
Yeah, it definitely still does, because I still remember how my draft day went, how the full 3 days went. On the 3rd day, you know, that's where I was projected, talked to my agent, everything. I'm like, all right, today's the day. Then when it got to like round 6, in the middle of round 6, I'm like, started doubting. So I actually left my little like party I had, like with family and everything, and I left. Just me and my wife, we just did. And, you know, shout out to my wife. You know, she's done everything for me, for my kids, especially with my injury. I wasn't like a lot of help, and she handled it all. You know, she's definitely someone I rely heavy on. She's like my rock, basically the rock of our family. So just a lot of talks with her. And then at the end, she was like, let's just pray about it. So, you know, prayed, went back to the party. My agent was like, all right, there's a couple teams. And then you know how it goes from there.
Right. High is bitter.
You're right. High is bitter.
Right. Who got the highest signing bonus? Where I'm going.
You know, your story is a lot like John Randall's. Do you know about John Randall's story? Undrafted Hall of Famer.
I know who John Randall is. I don't know his story.
Yeah.
So John Randall, he was also undrafted, got cut by 3 different teams. Finally, he comes to Minnesota. They're about to cut him again, but the coach tells him, like, if you don't weigh at least 260 by the last day of camp, we're going to cut you no matter what. So he goes to Home Depot and buys like a big-ass chain with a giant padlock, puts it on around his waist, and then puts his sweats on over it and weighs in at like 267. And he made the team. And then after that, he you know, became John Randall, the Hall of Famer. Do you have a crazy story like that where you had to make a team by doing something drastic?
Nah, not nothing to that extreme. That's a wild story.
Yeah.
We just so everybody knows, Robert Smith has now just joined us. I don't know if Robert can hear us. He may still be getting himself situated. Oh, there he is. Hey, Robert.
I'm here.
This
What's
is
up, DC?
Oh, man.
Oh, here we go.
That's a great story about Johnny. I got one similar, actually.
We're going to get into it.
We will. Robert, this is actually a newest member of the Ed Block Courage Award family. Nephi Sewell is the Saints recipient this year.
Awesome. That's awesome.
His brother is Penny Sewell of the Lions, which is leading me to my next question. You come from a very competitive family, Nephi. What was it like growing up with pretty much now brothers that are all in the NFL?
A lot of fights, definitely. You know, a lot of we were big. Sorry, we were big on like WWE back in the day.
Oh goodness!
Back at like when we were living in Samoa, there was like probably like 30 channels max, and WWE came on one of them, and we were like, oh. We like this. So there was definitely a lot of broken stuff within the house. And then one year, my dad was able to get us like a PS2. So there was like a lot of competitive like stuff going on. And then it would get to the point where like one brother would lose, grab the disc out the PS2 and mess up the disc, and no one could play anymore. It was that competitive.
Oh man.
I got to ask this question. Who's the best athlete of the three?
It'll hurt my soul to say, but Panay's definitely a better athlete. He was our 7-on-7 tight end, quarterback, wide receiver, 1-on-1 jump ball, and he's a decent hooper. I just get him sometimes because I just run around and get him tired so he can't guard me.
But you know what? You know what you do get to say, Nephi, that you have over them? You are an Ed Block Courage Award recipient, and you hopefully, while he's muted, I hope he understands he's muted. Nobody can hear him clapping right now. But we hope that we get to see you in March and we get to do this again in person.
Oh, I'll definitely be there in Baltimore. I'll be there.
Man, the kids love it, man. That's the best part of it. When you see those kids who have literally nothing, and this is the one time a year when all of us show up, man, your heart will never grow 10 times bigger than when you see those kids light up, and you're like, man, if only I could have the kind of joy these kids have, knowing what they go through on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think it's only fair, before we let you go, Nephi, that we let Robert ask a question if he wants to ask one here to you.
Let's get.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will. So American Samoa. So did Frankie Luvu play there?
Yes, and he's balling out. My boy got 8 sacks this year. He's hooping.
Yeah, Frankie's awesome, man. And he mentioned Troy Polamalu as a player that came back and did a lot of camps. Were there any other Samoan players that came back that were an inspiration to you? Like, how old were you when you started playing and seeing some of those guys that were playing in the NFL?
Yeah, so I was 10 years old, and there was like a little league that just started, and it was ages from like 11 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
I was 10, and I was right on the cusp, and I just kept begging my dad to let me play. And the good thing was that they had X-Men. So all the dudes who were like good at like running the ball and they were big, they had to get down in 3-point stance. But I've always been around the game and seeing like Troy, Ray Maulunga, Domata Peko, and obviously the great Junior Seau, like just seeing them, if they can do it, why can't I? And
is Richard Brown your uncle? I seen that in your bio.
Yeah, Richard Brown is my uncle.
Me and him were teammates in Cleveland.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. But
I got one other question.
Yep.
Have you or has anybody in the Saints locker room ever won an argument against Cam Jordan?
That one is no. Cam will stand 10 toes, even if he's wrong.
Wait a minute, he's been wrong? Are you going on record?
I played with Cam's dad, Steve, up in Minnesota. He's the one that got me involved to be a union rep. So just thankful for Steve. And, I became a player rep in 1994. And since then, I've worked for the players in one capacity or another, either as a player rep, executive committee member, agent, disciplinary committee, and now I serve on the pension and disability board as one of the trustees. So Steve, Cam's father, taught me about service, especially to the players, past, present, and future. But he could definitely carry an argument. I know Cam can too.
Talk about anything. That's what Cam do.
All right. Nephi, thank you for taking some time with us. We cannot wait to see you in person in Baltimore in March to get to do this again. And congratulations from all of us at Ed Block.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
All right, man.
We are going to take one quick break. Robert's already with us, but we'll get this all set up here in a moment. All right, we've had a lot of fun so far. Robert Smith has already been with us, but let's give him his proper introduction. He's already handled the hosting duties of this podcast, so he took care of that for us. Thank you for that, and our thanks to Nephi Sewell, the Saints recipient. He is a 1997 Ed Block Courage Award recipient with the Minnesota Vikings. Longtime NFL running back, now a analyst on Fox Sports on their college football coverage. He's also covered the NFL, that would be Robert Smith, DC's teammate. I don't even know why I did the introduction. Why didn't DC do it? DC,
Right,
you
go
introduce him.
So let me introduce you to one of the smartest players I've ever met, one of Ohio State's finest athletes, probably one of the best form runners I've ever seen, track star, All-American, 2 sports, right, Robert?
Actually, I was only All-American in track. I never made All-American in football.
Oh, God, how's that? Well, another crime. But my man from the town, Robert Smith.
Appreciate it, DC. Great to see you, my man.
Always great to see you, man. You know, we had so many great years up in Minnesota, man. It's kind of bittersweet seeing you, man. Actually, after hearing the news about Randy, and you know, we've lost so many guys on that squad. Yeah. And anytime I get a chance to see one of my guys from the Vikings in those early '90s, man, I just want to put my arms around them and be like, man, so glad you're still here, doing good, making it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You know, it's there's just no sport that brings people together the way that football does. You know, their lifetime friendships and brotherhoods. You know, literal blood, sweat, and tears together. And you know, it's a short ride on the little blue dot that they call the planet, right? Like, you know, you got every day is a blessing, and every day you should be grateful that you get another one. And you're right, man. You know, from OT to Bobo, and you know, just it's tough. It's tough seeing you know, seeing players pass. Chuck Evans. Yeah, man, it's tough, but you know, on the other side of it, there's just nothing that lights up your day, man. Just hearing some of the players' names, you know what I mean? Like, it just brings a smile to your face because there's just so many great memories.
Thinking about Mankato and how many times we used to be out there in the Cheese League, fighting up in River Falls with the Chiefs and the Saints, and
your first year was 95 or 96? 96. Okay. So in 94, when we had training camp up there in Mankato, I took my telescope up there. I have a computer. I have a different one now, slightly bigger. But you know, I had a computerized telescope that I took to training camp because Jupiter was getting hit by fragments of a comet that had broken up into like 26 pieces, and it hit over the course of the month. And you know, Jupiter is really big in a telescope. You can even see it in binoculars, but you could actually see the black marks in the clouds of Jupiter. There's no surface that you can see. But you can see the black marks in the clouds from where the comet was hitting over the course of those days. So guys would be coming back from the bars. You know, that was the only time of year that I didn't go out. Guys would be coming back from the bar, and they see me out there with a telescope. Smitty, what you doing out there, Smitty? I'm looking at Jupiter.
You were always on another intellectual level.
Hey man, and with that intellect, I you know, shots fired. Let's get into it. Right? Look. I got, you know, we have boys. I got my boys over here. You know, I got my offensive lineman guys, the Steve Everett's of the world. Okay, the LaCharles Bentleys of the world. You know, these kind of things. So, direct question: should it be a felony for a flag to be painted, be stamped in the state of Ohio? Should it be a felony, all right, for this to happen, all right, in the horseshoe?
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a misdemeanor. Shouldn't be anything. I mean, it's silliness, you know. And I think, well, at least I hope, it was mostly tongue in cheek by the state congressman that proposed that. But it's pretty funny, though. I mean, you know, college football, you know, there's nothing like it, man. Just the passion around college football. Professional football is great, but the environment and the passion of the players. Now, look, it's a little different now. You know, we had this call yesterday with the 33rd team, and they were doing an analysis of the players that are changing teams because of the portal and what guys get paid now. And there's going to be revenue sharing. Of course, you know, we see with Belichick coming in the game, you know, bringing Lombardi, like they have whole GM staffs now, and they were saying that literally, because they used to joke about this all the time, especially with guys like Ohio State guys and Miami guys. Like, you guys took a pay cut to come to the league. Like, there are a lot of players that are going to be taking pay cuts going to the league now. It's crazy.
That's insane.
I mean, well, how do you manage that? The money is so big and so great, and there's no real cap in college football. Has no real way of trying to, I guess, balance the playing field to a certain extent. So, what would be the situation? Will it be like a pro situation, or what's going to happen?
Well, you're right, man. You need some sort of cap. You need some sort of collective bargaining agreement. You need some sort of floor, and I think that, people that criticize the NFL system, like there were like 5 or 6 quarterbacks that were making more than the whole Oakland A's team, the entire payroll. So, there's no cap in baseball, but there's no floor. So in the NFL, teams have to spend 90% of the cap, like over 3 years. So, but yeah, to your point, going back to college, like, they need to have all that. They need to have a commissioner that handles scheduling so they can balance some of the scheduling out. We're seeing that with this first playoff, that, an SMU schedule. And I'm happy I'm in the Dallas area, here in Dallas right now. And, happy to see SMU going, but an SMU schedule just isn't what Alabama's was in the SEC, and not even what Miami's was in the ACC. But, I'm happy that they made it, but I think they need to do a lot of changes. And one of the crazy things that you hear when you interview the coaches is, whoever the player is can say, yeah, this school offered me this, can you match it? Like, they have no idea. They don't know whether that player got offered that or not. So yeah, it's a wild, wild west right now. They got to do something different.
Well, I apologize for my issues on my end. Technically, we've been doing this for a while here tonight, so my internet obviously decides to cut out. But I don't know if this question's been asked, but I'm going to ask it, Robert. What did it mean to you to be an Ed Block Courage Award recipient in 1997?
It's the only award. It's really the only football memorabilia that I'll display. And I'm not criticizing anybody else. People can do whatever they want to do, but I'm not a guy that's going to have my jerseys hanging around or a bunch of game balls. At one point, I had the game ball from that same season, from the first game. But the reason it was so special to me is that it's voted on by the players, and what it represents from a courage perspective. I had been through a bunch of injuries my first 3-4 years in the league, and that was the first really healthy year that I had, and teammates blessed me with the award. And then actually going to the event, and as DC talked about, I mean, you see these kids and it just inspires you to do something different, and to be something better. Like, it truly solidified in my mind something that I had always thought in general, that notoriety in and of itself isn't necessarily good for anything if you don't really do something with it. And I remember going back to Minnesota, and we always, we had our community Tuesdays, as Denny would call them. And, I remember that we would send groups around to the cancer hospital. 1 week it would be the linemen or defensive linemen or offensive linemen, defensive backs, running backs. And it was just kind of this whirlwind, right? And it was almost like a photo op more than anything else. And I started my foundation to go, and I would go every Tuesday. After going to Ed Block and getting that inspiration, I would go every week to the Children's Hospital and sit with the children, sit with their families. And it really changed me. It was a true honor. And again, it's really the only award that I think, for me, is worthy of being displayed, because it's not about what I did. It's about a challenge of who you can be.
I'm
That's
so
awesome.
proud I actually got to vote for you for that award. You're the first person we've had on the podcast that not only I played with, but I actually got to vote for them to get this award.
Well, I
So,
hope I got your vote, but I won it anyway.
you
So
definitely got my vote.
I'm just kidding.
Well, Rob, you were always inspirational. You were always one of those guys that took time to talk to everybody on the team. We had so many Hall of Famers on the team: Randall McDaniel, Chris Dolman, John Randall. What does it take to be a leader in a locker room with so many Hall of Famers, but at the same time, you were always a leader, but you did it with such humility and grace? And it's like, what prepared you to be that guy, even in the midst of all those like super big egos?
That's a great question, and to me, it's everybody trying to be the same thing or do the same thing, like, because it doesn't matter what kind of accolades you get outside of the locker room and what kind of player you are individually. If everybody else on the team isn't doing what they're supposed to do, if they can't reach their potential, then you're not really a powerful team. And the best teams always have that. I think they have players that are willing to speak up and challenge anybody, because it's the same message. And if you're not pulling your own weight and you're not inspiring other people to do it, the tendency is to just to fall off. And so to me, it kind of grew by experience. You see that not everybody's going to take getting yelled at in their face, and I wasn't that kind of guy anyway. But you have some leaders that want to do that, but that shuts some guys down. So I think if you truly want the best out of some people, you have to understand what style of leadership they respond to, and try and be that leader to fill that gap wherever it's needed.
And that's a great point, because all of us now are old guys, okay, and all of us now are going through these transitions. You had to kind of detox from football and get into real life situations and trying to find that balance and how you go about doing that. I guess, how much of that do or have you used in every element of your life, to where you're a player at a high level, now you're doing things in the NFL, representing things and working with players in a way, even right now today. So how do you maintain that symbiotic balance to keep right there in the middle to keep things flowing smoothly?
Yeah, I really think it's the same philosophical approach, really. And I know that people outside of the game, they kind of get bored hearing it, the coach speak and the 1% better every day. But if you're not in some level of constant self-evaluation, then you're not improving, and you're not reaching the potential, and uh, you're not being the person that you truly can be. It's funny, like, they say, like, if you're the smartest guy in the room all the time, then find smarter rooms. Like, there's always something all of us can learn. And I think that process is continuous for me. And now, my children are fairly young, 14 and 12. And, I'm just so grateful that I get an opportunity to share that philosophy with them, but to use it on me. Like if I'm losing it with a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old, it's not them that has the problem. It's me that has the problem, right? Like, just kind of applying.
I don't know at times.
Yeah, it's hard, right? When they're at that age, like, but then you have to understand, biologically what's going on with them. Like, my job as a parent is to prepare my children the best I can for the times that I'm not around, and the times that I just won't be around anymore, right? Like, that's who we are as parents, and who we are, I think, as teachers. There was a great line that I saw, and it was from like a Middle Eastern philosopher, and they said, if I meet a 95-year-old with something to learn, I'll teach, and if I meet a 5-year-old with something to teach, I'll learn, right? So
Yes.
life is a constant process of checking yourself, checking your ego, and trying to make everybody around you better, not just making things better for yourself.
All right, Robert. I'll leave this up to the guys if they have any final questions before we let you go here. I just want to say thank you. You are actually one of my favorite analysts on TV to watch. So this has just been a great honor for me, even though I missed half this conversation.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I got a definite two-part question for you, Rob, before you go. You know, since we played on those at least 4 years together, there's two things that happened, you know, that were like pivotal points that kind of changed my life. It was one, Corey Stringer's death. And
Yeah.
I remember football before Corey Stringer's death, and then how I looked at football totally different after his death. I remember never feeling, I think I felt invincible, kind of like naively invincible before that. How did his death change you and how you looked at yourself as an athlete? And you know we get paid to destroy our bodies for money, but that was almost to the extreme that it almost like, you know, kind of rocked you to your core.
Yeah, it really did. And, you know, Corey's picture is in my avatar on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And he's always been there and always will be. You know, my last year at Ohio State was his first year at Ohio State. And then, you know, when he got drafted in 95, you know, I played with him all those years, but I retired before the camp where he passed away. So I wasn't an athlete anymore, but it definitely changed me. You know, Corey, you know, when you think about, you know, people that the way I put it is like, if everybody likes you, you're probably lying to somebody, right? Like that's probably
Right.
it's probably something you're not. But Corey was just different, man. Like there was just never a reason not to like Big K. And I don't know if he ever called me Robert, man. You know, it was always Rupert or Smitty or, you know, Juice or, you know, some kind of crazy name. And you know, he just lit up every room that he was in. And you know, for me, understanding that. That your football clock is always ticking. That's why I retired when I did. You know, my last season was the only season I didn't miss any games, and I still needed knee surgery after the year. So I was like, you know, I could be like a 45-year-old knee replacement guy, and here I am at 52, still haven't had a knee replacement. My body feels great, and you know, I feel better for that. But yeah, man, the world just got a lot less funny, and it became a much, you know, I shouldn't say much less enjoyable place to be around, but it lost a bright light with Big K and, you know, brother forever.
Absolutely.
All right. Robert, our thanks for taking some time, for playing host with us, and just being an all-around great guy. Thank you for taking some time with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you, DC. Give me a shout sometime, man.
Love you, brother. I will definitely do that, man. You know, you got to come hang out with me and Jay out here in DC. You know, we always talking about you.
Okay, that sounds good. Love you too, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man.
Okay, guys.
All right.
Ron Rivera and DC and Brett up next.
Hello, I'm Duane Clemons. This is the Ed Block CourageCast, and we are here today with our special guest, former head coach Ron Rivera. Right now, you're seeing him in the media. He's doing broadcasts. He's on podcasts. He's pretty much everywhere now that he's been taking a break from the coaching on the sidelines. Ron, you're also a former Golden Bear. I'm an alumni too of Cal, and you know we both played on the same side of the ball. So I'm so excited to have you here on the CourageCast today.
Well, I appreciate it, Duane. Thank you very much for having me. And I tell you, it's great to talk with a fellow Bear. You know, a lot of crazy things going on in college football, but you know kind of that's their situation. But as far as the NFL is concerned, this is really cool, Duane. You know, have gotten the opportunity to be part of the Ed Block Courage Award recipients. That's a neat honor.
Absolutely. And here we're here to talk about a very special player, Reeves. This guy has an incredible story. You know, when I see a guy that wasn't drafted high, but, you know, had to go through being cut 3 or 4 times and then all of a sudden ascended to an all-pro player and has made a Pro Bowl and now is a vested veteran in the league doing his thing and has really made it quite a career for himself. Tell us all about him. Tell him what this award means and why is he getting this award?
You know, Jeremy is a very special and unique individual, and there's a lot of stories like that that go through the NFL, and his is very unique just for the whole fact that, as you said, he wasn't drafted. He signed as an undrafted free agent by the Philadelphia Eagles. He gets cut by them. He goes to the Washington Redskins then, and gets cut by them, ends up on the practice squad. I come in as the new head coach, and the same thing. You know, my first year with Jeremy, he almost quite makes the team. But I told him, hey, we'll bring you back. We get the opportunity. We did bring him back. I told him that the opportunity ever happens and somebody gets hurt, I'll elevate you from the practice squad. And we did. And he played. And it happened the next year, the same thing. And I kept telling him, I said, look, you're going to make it because you're working hard. At some point, you'll get that opportunity. I promise you. And well, what happened was a lot of people expected me to bring somebody in I had known. But what I did was, because of one of our safeties got hurt, I elevated Jeremy, and Jeremy came through for us. And from that point on, had become a starter for us and just became a guy that could help us on anything, especially special teams. So then his third year with us, he wins the special teams award for the honor for the Pro Bowl team. And so I brought him in to tell him he had made the Pro Bowl. And what made this really special, though, more so than anything else, was he had just lost his mother. And his mom was his, you know, was his everything in terms of greatest supporter, the person that pushed him, the person that, you know, motivated him. And it was a very poignant moment in his career to have succeeded and gone through so much. So then a season ago, he gets a leg injury, injures his knee, has to go through surgery. And knowing him, I knew he would make the comeback, and sure enough, he did. And I'll tell you, the fact that this award is voted on by your teammates and your coaches and trainers speaks very highly of who Jeremy is as a man on the field, and more importantly, as a man off the field doing what he does for the community.
Watching a player go through a season-ending injury is one of the hardest things to endure, especially as a coach, and also as a teammate. You know, you watch guys go through this every year, and then to see him come back. If you're a kid and if you were talking to a kid and you're trying to basically tell him what it takes to be able to make a career in the NFL and to be able to go through all these ups and downs and adversities, using Reeves as a guy, as an example, how would you frame it to show a kid using his career how the fortitude you need to have and the grit you need to have to be able to go through this kind of stuff?
That's a great question, Duane. And what I would tell him more so than anything else is watch his example. Watch how he carries himself as a man. Watch how he prepares and gets himself ready to do his job. Jeremy is a young man who's very business oriented. Everything he does with a purpose. And so there's a great fun side to who Jeremy is, and there's also a very serious workman-like type of attitude that he carries. Watch him. Here's a young man that's been knocked down on several occasions, but has always risen to the challenge, and he's gotten back up. It goes to that old saying, it's not that you get knocked down, it's more important about you getting up. Well, Jeremy continues to get up when the bell rings. So that's what I would tell him. I would tell him, there's a great example. Just follow his example, and you'll have an opportunity to succeed too.
And now I want to follow up. Now, you yourself are a recipient of this Courage Award, and it's been well documented on your battles and how much you've had to endure and your own health struggles. And now we're seeing Randy Moss going through his health struggles. Mm-hmm. Tell us about taking care of your body and also trying to manage a career that is so stressful and also going through that kind of health crisis all at the same time.
It's crazy because mine came out of nowhere, and my cancer diagnosis hit me just as we were starting training camp in the 2020 season. And it was also the same time the pandemic had just started. So there were a lot of obstacles that we had to work through. But the one thing that I always tell people is you have to be vigilant. You have to be aware of yourself, your own health, and take care of yourself. And that's one of the things that we as people don't tend to do. We get so busy, we get so caught up in what's going on in the world, we forget to take care of us. So every now and then you got to take a step back, take care of you, make sure you're being vigilant, make sure you're seeing your doctor on a regular basis, and do the things that you need to be doing to make sure you stay healthy.
Now, specifically looking at that year and knowing that your life is on the line, how did you make choices to balance out how much time to take for yourself so you could give yourself the proper care versus doing your job and trying to keep a whole organization at the top and at the pinnacle?
You know, Duane, it was truly a team effort. I was very fortunate. You know, my two primary caregivers were my wife and daughter. Having them around was tremendous. But one of the things that I took advantage of, and it's one of those things that a lot of folks don't have, and that was I had a team around me, literally. We had a nutritionist on site for the Commanders, and I used the nutritionist. We had strength and conditioning guys to make sure I was getting proper exercise at the time. Trainers were paying attention and helping me out get through with my medicine and doing the things that I needed to as far as my treatments. And it's just when you have that type of support system around you, you know, you can get things done. And I was very fortunate to have that.
Wow, that's incredible to hear that. I never knew, well, I guess I've never heard about an organization since obviously we're used to dealing with football injuries and on the field, like, you know, broken legs and torn ligaments. But to see the training staff have to totally pivot, was that something that was already in their wheelhouse? Or is that something that they had to go and research and get trained on and kind of fast track their education about?
You know, Duane, I think it was in their wheelhouse. I really do. You know, those guys train continuously. It's an amazing thing that when you get a chance to watch the training staff work and do the things that they need to do and learn and take the classes they're supposed to take, those things just seem to fall naturally for those guys and women that do this. So I was very fortunate. I really was.
No, Ron, I'm being a California guy. I'm a Berkeley guy. I grew up in Southern California. People used to always make fun of me because I was really into holistic, non-invasive, drug-free healthcare. I'm a big yoga guy. I was doing like herbs and colonics and, you know, doing fasts, going off of meat early in my career because I know you probably remember Corey Stringer. He was one of my teammates. And I remember that being a very defining moment in how I felt about football. And it really changed the dynamics of how I looked at, you know, this is my body. I only got one. This is my life. I only got one. And I love this game and I love what I do for a living. But at the same time, that was kind of that real shock to my system. Like, man, if, you know, this, you know, things can go bad really quickly for you. And, you know, you wake up one day and think you're going out to practice with your boys. And then next thing you know, you're fighting with your life. It totally created this intense need for me to start to be proactive. And I started seeing a chiropractor and going to an herbalist and doing fascia work and really doubled down on the off the field stuff that I needed to do to take care of my body because I wanted longevity more than anything. How are you creating longevity now at this point in your life?
You know, it's interesting when you bring all those things up because those were things we weren't aware of really back in the mid 80s. But in today's world, we're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate. I have a wife that researches everything. And so she's pretty much gotten us on the type of regimen. She's a Cal girl. So again, having gone to the University of California, she's, you know, she does have a little insight into things like that. And so we have a little bit more of a holistic approach. You know, we're very aware of what we drink, what we're intaking and putting into our body. Exercise has become a big part of it too, making sure we get some form of exercise daily, doing some extra walking, stretching. You know, we actually went out and got a power plate, which is that high intensity vibration plate that really kind of helps stimulates circulation, the nerve endings in your body, stuff like that. So we've really gotten into it, just trying, like you said, it's all about longevity now, and it's about, you know, extending the lifespan. And I do agree. You know, you only got one body, you only got one life. Let's make the most of it.
You know, it was traumatic to me to go through that, but now I'm on the other side of it, and I work with a lot of young athletes. I've got a chance to work with like Brian Breezy since he was in high school. Now he's having great success in New Orleans, and a couple other guys, the Funk Brothers. What do you see the NFL changing as far as, because I remember when I was in the league, people actually made fun of me. And I remember the training staff, they made fun of me because I was doing these herbs and I was telling guys they should go get colonics. And they really gave me like the business for a couple of years. And now to see this thing turn around, as a coach, is there something that you see coming down the pipeline where this becomes mainstream, where non-invasive drug-free healthcare becomes like the primary thing that we do versus
No, yeah, I think you're right, Duane. I think what's happened is a lot of guys have started turning to preventive. And a big part of it is not just, in your diet and your own personal stretching at home, but you see guys coming out earlier and earlier to practice now. You see guys doing those little things, going into the training room, getting into the hot tub, doing the extra stretching. There's that blood testing now that you see, where people are getting their blood tested to see what type of allergies, what are they allergic to, what are their bodies deficient in. It's crazy. Like I found I was deficient in iron. I was deficient in vitamin D at one point. And so I started taking the supplements to help get those things. I found out that I reacted to dairy products. I reacted to eggs, which caused inflammation and swelling in my joints. And as I started cutting back on those things, I began to notice the less swelling, the less aches in my joints. Grounding. I don't know if you do the grounding. Yeah. But
I do PMF.
Yes, and my wife and I have learned about that, and we do the grounding now, even when we're sleeping. There are so many ways now for better nutrition, better health, better life, that I think players are starting to become more and more aware of it. Diet is another big thing too, and again, we talked about that. You talked about that, how important it was that you started doing that for longevity.
So being Cal guys, it kind of feels like we might be on the forefront of this a little bit because, it seems like, that California mentality has always been about the health and the wellness. And even if they thought we were hippies, we would still knock the snot out your nose. Yes, but then we'll help you up and show you how to fix it. So how much time do we have with you, Ron? Because I do want to get into one other subject if we got enough time.
I got about 5 minutes. My cars should be arriving any minute. I'm going up to San Francisco because I got the 49er game today.
All right. Last question. For all the big Ron Rivera fans out there, what is next? We want to know, what is the future of Ron Rivera? Where is he going? What's he doing? What's he planning?
It's interesting, Duane, is having the year off. When it first started, it was a different way. I was seeing things differently. One of the things, again, we talked about, Stephanie and I talked about, was making sure the health was in the right spot. And one of the things that we did was we started this workout regimen that we do, and it's been very good. But personally, I got involved doing some broadcasting this year. I spent time in the studio. I spent time on the radio, going to the games and being the color commentator, which was really cool. But it's also given me a different perspective, a different set of eyes from which to watch the game. And so I think if the opportunity comes up to coach, I think I would take it. I really do. I love the game. The game has been very good for me. And I do think, based on what I've seen and how things are going, the things that I've done in the past are the right things to do. So if the opportunity comes, I'm going to take it.
Well, awesome, and congratulations. We want to wish you the best of luck in your endeavors, and I'll definitely be rooting for you to become a coach. And I hope you don't beat up on my Chiefs too bad, whatever team you go to, unless you're gonna take over for Andy. I don't know if you want to maybe put that bug in the Hunt's ear. We'd love to have you over there on our sideline.
He ain't ready. He ain't ready to go. Coach is doing his thing and he's enjoying it. And I think as long as coach enjoys it, he'll stay.
Oh, man. Well, I just want to thank you for being on. I'm Duane Clemons. This has been Coach Ron Rivera for the Ed Block Courage Awards. And we want to celebrate Jeffrey Reeves for being our recipient for the Commanders of the Ed Block Courage Award. And we'll be coming to you live again later on tonight.